In the gray fog of Flanders, I remember the mud more than the bullets. The way it clung to the skin, to the soul. I was a British officer, already hardened by the frontier. In the autumn of 1914, I fought alongside the men of the 57th Wilde Rifles, a regiment forged in the heat of the Indian frontier, now thrown into the cold crucible of Europe's Great War. Welcome, kindred souls. The Curious Chrononaut presents Ghosts of the Empire, Ypres, 1914, a past life memory. A trench filled with mud and the scent of cordite, a letter stamped censored, and a name I couldn't pronounce but somehow knew. For years I dreamed of war, of a map smudged and damp with a place name starting with Y. I was just a kid. How could I know about Ypres? But I did. In the chaos of the First Battle of Ypres, they were the foreign sons of a crumbling empire, shipped thousands of miles from Hindustan to defend a crown they had never seen. The 57th Wilde Rifles, and the brave men of the 129th Beluchis, both part of the Indian Corps, arrived in Belgium in the autumn of 1914. Hardened, disciplined, but unprepared for the sheer industrial slaughter awaiting us in the mud of Messines and Hollebeek. I wasn't their commander, but I stood in the trench beside them, fought with them, bled with them. In late October, near the village of Messines, the German assault came with ferocity. Shells shrieked like banshees. Trenches dissolved into mud and fire. We held until the order came. Fall back to Messines. Dig in. Regroup. Hold the line. Or die trying. That retreat marked a turning point. The end of open battle. The beginning of trenches, wire, and years of slaughter. While we dug in near Messines, the 129th Beluchis were ordered to hold Hollebeek. The line was breaking. The ground, waterlogged. I watched them charge into fire. Not because they had to, but because no one else could. Their advance helped seal a breach that would have swallowed us whole. That day, they didn't just serve. They saved. As a child, I had nightmares. Always the same. A muddy trench, a torn map, a name scrawled across the top, starting with a Y. I didn't know what it meant until I read about the First Battle of Ypres. Then I remembered. The ruined chapel in Messines. A Sikh soldier sharing his last ration, whispering a prayer I somehow understood. I didn't die there, but I watched my brothers fall, and the silence that followed still echoes. I eventually wrote a novel called Karma Peace, based partly on lingering past life dreams of this battle. It was cathartic. The men I fought beside, men from Punjab, Baluchistan, the Himalayan hills. They held the line at Ypres. Their sacrifice bought time, but history forgets. I once received a letter, stamped by the British censorship department. A warning. Indian troops were writing poetry. They said it bordered on sedition, but we knew better. Those verses weren't rebellion. They were mourning. A way to say, we are human too. We bleed. We wonder. We remember. I remember too. Maybe that's why I needed to share. If this story stirred something in you, something you can't explain, you might be a chrononaut too. Subscribe for forgotten histories, echoes of soul, and stories that linger through lifetimes. And if you've ever remembered something you couldn't possibly have lived, tell your story. You're not alone.